Hello YouTube, Wisdom of Sea and Sky is here, and with it did technically introduce an idea or a mechanic, and that is baby Pokemon. All baby Pokemon are 30 HP Pokemon with 0 retreat and a colorless attack. What does that mean for at least Pokemon Pocket? In Pokemon Pocket, you actually can attack turn 1. Recall all the times you played against a water player turn 1 and they mistied and won the game. Basically, babies are like that, except instead of winning the game immediately, they can do a smaller attack of a usually existing attack. So it's really, really cool to see baby Pokemon have a place in the metagame, and I kind of want to talk about every single baby Pokemon, what you can use with them, and what, like, which situation would you want to have them. But I will say right now, we're going to start with Elekid. I don't think Elekid has a place, unfortunately, anywhere. And I want a moment of silence for Elekid and talk about why. I think the 20 damage on a bench snipe is okay. I think that the bench sniping ability is just kind of power crept right now. I think that 30 was too low, so 20 is even lower, even if it's 20 for no energy, especially when we have cards like Pheromosa and Hitmontop that are doing 20 to the active and the bench. That's an effective 40 damage, and this is just not going to cut it, so I can't really find like a place for it. The other one that's kind of struggling to find a spot, but I do think is kind of interesting, is Smoochum. Smoochum is basically does what Espeon does, right? Espeon does 20 times 20, right? This is for each energy attached to everybody, but this does to your active. So this is going to be good if you have a deck that really, really needs help into something like Charizard, because you can drop the Smoochum, deal 100 to it. But other than that, it's very, very situational, and all of the baby Pokemon we're going to get into right after this are currently all seeing tournament success, seeing ranked success, so let's get into that. The first one I have is Magby. Magby takes a fire from your energy zone, attach it to a benched basic, so it's kind of like Pichu. Pichu does it for lightning, but where are situations that you would want to use Magby? I think the other thing, obviously when we get to it, you'll get to see some really, really cool cooks. I got an extremely cool cook at the end, not made by me, unfortunately, but this is a really, really cool This is a really cool composition. The things that really set it apart is the fact that it's a fire. There's a lot of strong fire decks that want it, but the one that's seeing a lot of success, especially in the day one, was this Silvally variant, right, with Magby getting Blacephalon energy. And I think this is really cool. I think what this does is interesting. I think the Silvally interaction is actually what makes this composition really, really busted. If you guys do not know, Silvally is able to get on turn 1, if you start Magby, you get to start Magby, and then you get to attach to Silvally, and then turn 3, which is your first turn, you get to attach an energy. You can evolve, but you already have an energy attached to Silvally. Really, really threatening. Silvally decks have gotten an extreme buff, and actually this is something I want to talk about, because y'all were PMOing me off the other video where you're like, when is Jeudy gonna apologize about my baby comments? I said baby Pokemon have awful prize mapping with EXs, because 1-2 is not a good prize map. This is a 1-1-2 no matter how you look at it. Let's say your Magby gets sniped, you're still gonna have 2 Silvally. You might even have a Silvally Blacephalon, and that is the key difference. Every single deck I'm going to show you is going to be that, right? Is going to be a deck that has a good 1-1-2, and you're not like trolling or griefing yourself by playing babies. What are some of the other issues some people might have are, oh, I don't get Magby start, what do I do? Usually it's going to be hand filler until you find a situation where maybe you want to play it to slow the game down and attach to something like, say, a Blacephalon. I've had a few games on stream where like a Silvally went down. I'm like, what should I need to do next? You can always send in Magby first, because Magby is a 0 retreat, so it's like no like harm in playing it, and then you can figure out if you need to attack with like your other Silvally, or if you need to start Toasty Tossing because maybe you didn't get Luzamine, right? So really, really cool, like slow down and breakpoints in these type of decks. And again, it's cool to see Blacephalon, a card that was like had its like 1 week of fame in Extra Dimensional Crisis, come back for maybe another week of fame. The next deck or next baby we have for you is Cleffa. Cleffa puts a random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. So this is kind of what like Eevee does, but it's for no energy. And so where would this like see use? Because this is like a Shiinotic. This is a weaker Eevee, right? And lots of people have Eevee. Where are you going to put this in? And I think that one of the players, this player went 8-0 in Swiss, undefeated in Swiss, unfortunately losing eventually actually to Zatumi, which was kind of cool. But it's this Cleffa Pichu Dragonite deck. So it's going to also double as talking about Pichu as well. But Cleffa was actually really, really good here, allowing you to grab all your pieces while still being able to attach what you need to attach. The double element switch. I can see this deck totally being a water only experience, and you can give the energy either through Pichu or by Zeraora, and basically you'll never energy screw yourself. So it's really cool. And you might be looking at this Dragonite deck and be like, didn't you just say a 1-2 prize map sucks? No, not in this situation, because it's not going to be a 1-2 prize map most of the time. It's going to be like you either like Cleffa up or you Pichu up, they drop, and then you need like either a Zera, or if you're playing against Oricorio, you're going to need a Dragonair, right? Dragonair is able to one-tap Oricorio, and Dragonite is strong enough on its own to win the game, right? The thing I'm not going to talk about and show you guys is a Ho-Oh-Lugia deck, because I do think Ho-Oh-Lugia has a rougher time, because you're going from Pichu or Magby into a Ho-Oh into a Lugia, and by the time you did all of that, your Ho-Oh is now taggable by Cyrus, which is a very common thing in this game, and you might not even get full value out of Lugia, especially if Ho-Oh ends up dropping, right? So that is why this deck, it's like you have to deal with Dragonite. You have to do a Dragonite. There's no middleman, right? Ho-Oh. And that is where I worry about the prize mapping of babies, even if babies have pleasantly surprised me, right? I'm genuinely really happy to be pleasantly surprised by baby Pokemon. That said, the next one is Pichu. Pichu's been like the star. There's been so many decks. And one that I used, and I guess I'll talk about this, maybe you'll warrant its own video, because I did go on a pretty nice win streak with it, is Pichu Oricorio Silvally. So you're cutting out Zeraora, which the 50 damage was not too important, I can say, but the real star of like the cutting out is that Pichu allows Silvally to attack no Dawn. So you don't need Dawn, no elemental switch. It's the same combo with Magby, except now you're playing Oricorio, who is the yellow bird of destruction, the one that puts every single EX Pokemon in check. And because you are now running less cards like Dawn, you can run cards like Guzma again, right? One of the things with Oricorio is that it ends up fainting now to decks like Darktina, yada yada. So Guzma is really sick. And PCL is so huge. Heal 30 damage. Again, another important thing for Oricorio to live through certain attackers like for Crobat, EXs with a Darkrai, right? The Darkrai Tino with Rocky Helmet. So really cool to see, really cool that we have that, and that's thanks to the addition of Pichu, right? Pichu allowed you to drop cards like Dawn, etc., and play a little bit stronger. So Tyrogue is actually interesting. There are multiple ways to play it. The big Tyrogue does 20 for no energy. 20 for no energy is huge. I think that people are kind of don't recognize like where would this be good? Why would I use this? With a Giovanni, 20 plus 20 plus 10 KOs a Zubat. With something like a Lucario or even a Darkrai, you can KO Eevee, which is insane, right? Like what you can just do that. We're KOing Eevees now. This is a current build by a player that's in top cut of the Froggy X. That's the tournament I'm also in. I'll be playing in later. But this is really cool. You're going to use Tyrogue if you're going first. You can get the Evolution. You can obviously get the ping. That's 20. And then you get the Lucario ping. That's 40 while you're attaching to things that might be important, like the Fanfi, right? Fanfi is very energy hog, right? Donphan needs 3 energy. So by using Tyrogue, you're allowed to not worry about attaching energy. This is one of the strengths of babies. This is what no other Pokemon can do while still pressing damage and getting buffed by Lucario, getting up to 60, right? It's kind of insane. Hiker is just like kind of a consistency card when everything is fighting. So really, really cool to see this deck in cut. I really do hope it does well. Only time will see. And the kind of the final deck that kind of inspired this is really strong player, Numa, ended up going all the way to 1700 Master Ball with this insane cook. So let me make this bigger and like kind of talk about what we are looking at. So what we are looking at is a Pichu Tyrogue Darkrai deck, right? And you're like, why would you do something like this? So it's important to note that Tyrogue with Darkrai ping one-shots Eevee. Eevee is kablooey. This deck that's insane, right? With a lightning energy attachment onto, let's say, a Darkrai or a Oricorio, they're online. But with Darkrai, you're able to attack on turn 2. That's the other thing I should talk about is that we should look at all cards that are like 3 energy with a colorless, because babies can put them go crazy, right? Like Arceus is 3 energy, which means Arceus can also attack on turn 2 because of the 1 less energy requirement because of a card like Pichu. So it's really, really cool. This deck, you might be going like, oh, well, isn't this a 1-2 prize map? No, this is not a 1-2 prize map because you can attack with Tyrogue, Darkrai, right? That's going to be the main source of strength. If you're playing against a deck where you need Oricorio, you can Pichu into Ori and then focus on Ori attacks while your Darkrai continues to ping. Really, really cool stuff. And I think that's, again, why the Ho-Oh version, why I was so fearful of the babies not being as good, is because the Ho-Oh version had that middleman, and these decks are cutting out the middleman. So it's really, really cool to see this like it's titled Dark Baby, right? So just the Dark Baby deck. Lots of cool disruption as well, being able to run red card, silver, Mars. Must be extremely oppressive. I want to play this deck a lot. I just need a second Pichu, and I'll probably play this. But yeah, I think that babies are really, really cool addition to the game. It sucks that certain decks don't get full value out of them, right? Like I mentioned, that Ho-Oh decks are a bit on the weaker end, right? A lot of Ho-Oh decks, right, are, if we go to just like their win rates and their counts, it's really not the best for them. And that sucks, right? The Dragonite Ho-Oh deck here has a 45% win rate. Ho-Oh Lugia has a 48% win rate. But of course, the Ursi Day is coming up this weekend, and that might change things around, might show us a new Ho-Oh deck that we are interested in. There's been Arceus Pichu decks, there's been so many cool decks, and I'm just excited to be able to see how this meta goes. And I'm, again, happy that babies are here. This is like kind of the first like new mechanic, right? EXs, tools came since tools, and now we have baby Pokemon, and maybe we will have something new like stadiums in the future. So I guess I'll leave this video here. What are your thoughts on baby Pokemon? Is there a Pokemon that you want? Do you guys have a deck for Elekid and Smoochum? Because I don't have a deck for Elekid and Smoochum yet. But if you guys do, let me know in the comment section below. I would look forward to continuing this conversation. Bye-bye. I want you guys to know I stopped the uploading of this video to show you guys this list from Yato Gamin. If you don't know who Yato is, they finished top 4 last ranked series, and they said they feel like they built the best Silvally deck. And it's the same concept, right? Silvally Darkrai with the babies. This is really, really freaking cool that we are starting to see so much meta innovation. 3 babies, because you do want to start them, is super sick. I'm excited to see where we're going in this meta. That's it. Bye-bye.